Street Fair, Book 2 of the Fairfolk Chronicles, written by Jeffrey Cook and Catherine Perkins, narrated by Fairy Princess Lolly. Chapter 8, Glitter. Lonnie and Kasia were huddled over the map, trying to decipher it. Aisling and the Count were pacing back and forth, even if the Count had to make awkward sequential hops to do so. Aisling had quickly finished the treat with which Kasia tried to distract her and was now determined to stay ready for ad hoc limb amputation. Megan was pacing too. She had longer legs than they, and less of Kasia reaching over to put a hand in her way when she got too excited. Megan's pacing took her further and further each time, and as she did, her thoughts started wandering as well. She started with the map, but didn't know where it led. The guy Aisling had been chasing was next. The pixie had said something about a fancy lapel pin. Maybe that meant something? She would have sworn she'd seen some kind of motif like that in some of the art where she'd bought her painting. She glanced in the direction of the art dealers, and found herself staring at the hook-nosed goblin on the big rock. What he'd said about curing black moods had stuck with her. Could this be something better than the green pill with supper every night that never seemed to do enough? "Need a cure, young lady?" asked the goblin, standing on top of the boulder. Megan startled and glanced up. Maybe. You can really cure anything? If you pay for the cure, certainly. What if it's, not for me? Megan asked. That's fine, the goblin said, gesturing towards the rows of vials. What's the ailment? Megan hesitated, entirely unsure about this deal or the goblin. But it was a better chance than she was ever going to get elsewhere. It's my mom. She kind of spent too much time around a she. I want to sort of reignite whatever burnt out, you know? The goblin crouched and leaned in close to her. How long ago was this? About 15 years. Is that a problem? Problems are just opportunities in work clothes. It's a lot of time to adjust for, but I can fix it. It'll just have a suitable markup in cost. You're sure that's what you want? Megan wasn't sure, but she remembered the time she spent over-medicated living in a fog. She thought about her mother's antidepressants, her obsessions, and her spending the last decade and a half working on event management in the music industry without ever going to shows. She thought about the comments about incendiary bass work, while the bass gathered years of dust alongside the CDs. I'm sure. She reached for the baseball card. Her father had said it could pay for nearly anything. Then she remembered the impulse buy. How much? She asked, reaching for her wallet instead. The goblin considered her. F sharp, he responded. Megan blinked, looking at him confused. What? You have a lovely voice, and it's my favorite note. I'll take F sharp, he responded, rummaging through his supplies. Megan took a deep breath, trying to think how that would even work. Then the inspiration took over. Deal, she insisted. The goblin ignored her outstretched hand as he pulled out an odd little tuning fork. Can I get that F sharp, please? Megan decided it was a good thing she had perfect pitch. Deal, she sang. The tuning fork vibrated, and the goblin placed it in a ceramic bowl. Then he picked up a ceramic pestle and proceeded, though Megan had no idea how, to crush the tuning fork into a shining silver powder, like glitter. He poured half of it into a vial that went on his shelf. He then poured the other half into an envelope. He proceeded to get out a pen and write her mother's office address, which Megan had not given him, on the envelope. All right, he said. She'll be the herself she was supposed to be. Megan was about to ask about side effects, or about how long it would take, or about basic laws of physics or questions of privacy when Lonnie's voice drew Megan's attention away from the goblin. Megan, what did you do? She asked, running over to Megan. Kasha wasn't far behind her, with Justin trailing, lugging the instrument case he'd left under the stage. "It's okay. I have a cure for Mom. That's all." Lonnie looked dubiously at the Goblin. "You sure you know what you're doing?" Kasha slapped Lonnie on the back, almost knocking her over. "Don't worry. The doctor is good people. If he says he's got a cure, he does. Speaking of which, Doc, Maxwell wants his stuff. Usual payment." The hook-nosed Goblin set to work. "What stuff?" Megan asked. "Enchanted catnip. The normal stuff is okay, but whenever the market opens up, I try to get him the good stuff." "And only Maxwell gets some?" "Jude's too straight edge." Lonnie sighed. "If Kasha vouches for him, that's something. I'm not sure exactly what. Just be seriously careful, okay, Megan? We should talk about this. Soon, but not now. We need to hurry while the cats are still keeping Aisling and the Count from leaving without us. We figured out the map. Maybe it's nothing, but I still want to check it out." Megan sighed. "Check what out?" "Moichira. If he had a map for it, he might be there." "He might be, but that's not necessarily a good thing," Justin said. "He obviously knows how to get to Teferi. We surprised him here, but out in the wild—" Megan nodded. "We'll have to stick together. We'll have you, the cats, and Kasha, and the Count will be watching for trouble. We need to help Aisling, and it's not like we can convince her to wait any longer than necessary," Lonnie added. "Besides, we need to find out what kind of buried treasure or something a guy like that would be looking for in Moichira, of all places." "Sure, there's just one problem," Megan said. "Oh, and what's that?" "What the heck is Moichira?"
Hello friends, this is Gun for Hammerhands. Thank you for checking out Fairy Princess Lolly's channel. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Use your troll hammer to ring that little bell icon to get notifications when she posts future videos. And if you'd like to support these magical creations, fly over to our Patreon and join the fairy family. Safe travels!